Welcome back to another episode of the Women's Health Community Podcast. I am so excited to be back recording after my little hiatus, so thank you so much for joining me. I am a little bit starstruck with who is across from me, so welcome Ebony to the podcast.
Thank you.
So we start every episode with 4 questions. I literally had to re-listen to an old episode to remember what the questions were, but we'll get through those and then we can get into all the juicy questions that I have for you. So What is one non-negotiable in your day every single day?
In my day?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it changes all of the time. I'm someone that's like very like religious on like my nighttime routine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be your non-negotiable. I feel like that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of broad, but like my nighttime routine is
Has
like
to
something that I
happen.
have to do every single day,
Yeah.
even if I'm in like a different state, different country.
Okay.
It's always
What does
the
that
same.
look like?
Well, I like to eat dinner like quite early.
Oh, you're one of those.
Like I'm like a 5 p.m. dinner.
Oh my God. So by the time it finishes, you'll be like, I need to go find dinner
Yeah.
ASAP. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I've only had 3 meals today. I'm only at lunch right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So
And
early
then-
dinner.
Yeah. And then I think it's just like, I have to have like I have a nighttime drink.
Yep.
Which is like my magnesium, creatine, collagen. Have that every single night.
Do you make that like hot?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. It's just like the Pillow Performance. Have you had that? It's like
Yeah.
flavored
Yep.
magnesium. Yeah. So that. And then some things that I have to have an eye mask when I sleep.
Okay.
Fan has to be on. So I've got 2 fans in my room, one on the ceiling, one
Okay. So when you travel, it's aircon?
aircon, or I ask the reception if they can get me a fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Surely
Which
they could do that for you.
Yeah. Most places are actually pretty good at it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I also have like, this is so rogue.
You're exposing yourself really when we're not even 3 minutes deep.
I know. I have this thing called a knee pillow, and it's like a pillow that goes literally
Between your legs?
Yeah,
Yeah,
to kind
okay.
of like keep your hips opened.
I'm picturing like, you know, when you swim, like the thing that goes in between your legs to like,
Yeah.
that's what
it's
I'm
similar to
picturing.
that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like the peanut thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So they're kind of like the things that I have to have every single night to have like a good sleep.
Okay. And do you notice if you don't do those things that your sleep is off?
Yeah, because I'm
really?
such a routine person.
Okay.
But then this year I've been trying to like not be so like, rigid on my routine.
Okay. Yeah.
Because last year I was like so like in my routine
Yeah.
that one thing would like make me freak out
Yeah.
or like it would take me ages to get to sleep. Whereas this time I'm like, I can't do that. And it's the same with food as well. Like I'm someone that could eat the same meal every single day, week. But then as soon as it got thrown out, I would then like mentally like start to
You'd be like,
freak
what do I do
out
now?
or- yeah. So now I'm trying to be like a lot more flexible with like life in general.
But your nighttime routine stays.
But nighttime routine stays.
Yeah.
But then like there's some days where like I'll be working late or I get home late from, I don't know, a competition, and like obviously I can't eat the foods at the time that I want to eat or go to bed at the times that I want to go to bed. So it's like allowing for like flexibility with that kind of stuff.
So it's like your foundation still stays in the things that you do, but then now you're allowing yourself the flexibility with your times and all that sort of stuff. That's really cool. Okay. We actually haven't had an answer like that. So I love that.
Oh,
We've
really?
always had really like morning walk, coffee kind of vibe, but I really like that answer.
Yeah.
So next question is, what is your death row meal?
This changes all the time too.
Okay.
I would definitely say like pasta is like
A non-negotiable,
always usually like number one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And is any entrees, any dessert?
Yeah. So
I would have a whole spread, so don't feel like you're being too much if you need to have a whole spread.
Yeah. I actually asked my parents this last week, like what their like whole like entree, main, like dessert, drink, everything was. So we kind of like have already had this conversation.
Okay. So it's right in the forefront of your mind. You know exactly what the answer is.
Yeah. So entree would be like a good bowl of like hot chips.
I'm resurrecting as a hot chip.
Yeah.
I say this all the time on the podcast. I am resurrecting in this life as a
with
hot
some
chip.
like, it has to be like good salt, seasoning, like,
Bit crunchy on the outside, fluffy on the inside,
100%.
perfectly golden, not too brown. Love it. Yep.
Yeah. So hot chips. And then a main would be like a pasta.
Yep.
And it would be more like a ragu beef type.
Yeah, like a good hearty one, not like a ugh.
Yeah, not
oil
like a
one.
creamy
No.
or like one that you can kind of get sick of, like one that's like
Yep.
go to.
Yep.
Then dessert, this changes all of the time as well because I just love dessert. what did I say last week to my parents? I think it was like a good like loaded cookie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting answer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge it.
Yeah.
That's an interesting answer.
And then my drink.
Yep. Go. Oh, she's got a drink. Okay,
Yeah.
go.
Coke Zero.
Yep,
or
same.
an almond cappuccino. They're just like my two go-to drinks.
Can agree on
Yeah.
those two. What was your childhood dream job or dream career?
Yeah. I've always wanted to work in like a prison as like a
Wow.
corrections officer.
Wow. The guess.
It's one that I would like always have like wanted to do, but I never will do.
Okay. The guest we had on before I took a few weeks off recording, that was her first job before she got into what she does now.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy. She told us some wild stories. So even if you go back and listen to that, she told us some wild stories about like the different like range of crimes that people had committed to be in that like crazy.
Like I love watching like all those like prison shows and stuff like that. I find them so interesting.
Yeah.
So I watch it being like that would be such a cool job and like one that
I reckon
like,
I would be the
wanted to
person
do,
that they
but-
gang up on.
Yeah.
Like I would be the person that if a fight broke out, I'm the guy that they're coming after. That would be my biggest fear. Like how could you do that with the confidence of
Yeah.
knowing that they like you?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then the fourth question is different for every single guest. You've obviously been to the Olympics. Crazy. There is a rumor, and I hear this all the time, and you're the only person that can clear this up for me, that people and athletes in the Olympic Village, it is like a massive sex marathon. Is this true or not true?
So I heard this like a lot going into it.
Yep.
And I would say like no, because the rooms are like you've got to share with people. So
Okay.
the apartments are like filled with like 4 rooms and there's 2 people in each room.
Okay.
And you're literally on like cardboard beds. Like
I saw
that's
this as
a
well
thing.
all over TikTok. That was
Yeah. So you're just in like a single bed. So the only way that you'd be able to like, and you have to like go through like all of your like team is down the bottom. So like all like staff and
Yep.
team. And there's
have to walk
security.
through all of
So
them.
you've got to walk through all of them. You've then got to go up lifts, then
Yeah.
go into an apartment that's filled with heaps of other people.
So it's not anonymous if it happens. Like
No,
everyone knows.
No. So I didn't hear of like it happening at all.
Yeah.
However, like there is a lot of like people will come up to you and be like really like
Flirty.
forefront and like
Wow.
sexual and stuff.
What country was the most that you had those experiences with? Was there a country or was it just like anyone?
Kind of anyone, to be honest.
Crazy.
And I think because you're like at the peak of your performance and you know that it's kind of coming to an end, like I'm not gonna lie, like you're like
You're just
sex drive is pretty high.
yeah, you're just like, let's just get this show
Yeah.
on the road. Like, who's first? Who? That's crazy. Well, I've always had that question. I've never been able to confirm or deny it. So,
Yeah.
interesting answer. So,
Yeah.
like I mentioned, you went to the Olympics in Paris. That's insane to me. Like, you did the opening ceremony.
No, so
No.
we went there. It goes over 2 weeks.
Right.
So if you're there in week 1, you do the open ceremony. If you're there in week 2, you do the closing.
Okay.
And if you're there in week 1, as soon as your like event or sport's
You
finished, you
leave.
have to leave.
Wow.
And then because then the people in the second week come and they'll take over like those
Your-
rooms.
yeah,
/beds
okay,
kind
yeah.
of thing. So they only have like enough for like the people in those weeks, and then as soon as your event's done, you've got to go.
Wow.
So yeah, so you either do like the opening ceremony or the closing. The opening ceremony was like pouring with rain.
I
so
think I didn't actually watch too much of the Olympics this year, but I remember that was a whole
Yeah.
thing, and the can girls were slipping everywhere. And
yeah. So
Yeah.
they were on like boats, and it was like pouring with rain,
Wow.
and a lot of people decided not to go.
Oh, so it's
because-
optional.
Yeah, it's optional.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the closing ceremony, it was like boiling hot.
Oh my God.
And you have to wear these like blazers and
Yeah.
like all this stuff.
That whole
and
thing. You
yeah.
did it?
Yep.
Did you
Yep.
love it?
I was very hungover. Like I thought,
I love this. Yep.
I thought I was going to pass out the whole time.
Oh my
so
God.
it wasn't enjoyable. But then afterwards, we like had like an after party.
Yeah, fun.
With the Australia team, and that was like so fun. So then, like as soon as I started drinking again, I felt
You're
better,
fine.
but yeah.
Best way to cure hangovers is to continue
Yeah.
drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the closing ceremony was like, they had a couple of acts, but most of like, half of it was kind of just like pre-recorded.
Yeah. For like the
People-
TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it was just like standing around waiting for like those things to happen. So
Yeah.
it was more for like the TV over like us actually being there.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I feel like we've skipped forward quite a lot of questions that we need to get covered first. So let's tell everyone a little bit about what sport you were actually in, and then also how you kind of built up to the level to be at the Olympics, which I think is such like a peak in the country, in your career. And I feel like that's such a really cool accomplishment to have. I know quite a few girls who have tried to get into Olympic teams for different sports, but have been unsuccessful. So I think it's a really cool achievement to have done. So let's start with what sport and how you built up to get to that.
Yeah. So I do athletics and I started when I was 4. So my parents put me into little arts where you do like the range of different events. So I wasn't really specific on like what event that I was like best at, and I never like made it to state or nationals or anything like that until, so I made my first state final when I was 17 and then my first nationals when I was 19.
Is that considered late?
Very late.
Wow. Okay.
Considering that I'd done the sport since I was 4. I did a lot of other sports like in between, but I was never like the best.
Yeah.
So it took like a while for my journey to kind of start as an athlete, and because I was doing a lot of other sports, like I was enjoying them a lot more because I was better at them, and like that's just the nature of doing sport as a kid, is you just love the one that you're doing the best at.
Yeah.
And then once I got to the age of 19, I tried to do AFL because I had a few AFL teams that wanted to see if I could play and wanted to like recruit me.
Okay.
So decided to give that a go because, there's a lot more money in that. And again, I wasn't really getting anywhere with the athletic scene. So decided to give that a go and tore my ACL in the first season. So that was kind of done.
Wow, yeah.
Had a meeting with the surgeon and he pretty much just put it down to, you can either get the surgery and continue to play netball, football, whatever kind of sports that you want, or if you just want to like see how your sprinting goes and you're just running in a straight line, you don't need to get the surgery and
just let it heal.
Just kind of do it that way. So anyway, we were kind of like sitting on it, and a few clubs were offering to pay for the surgery.
Yeah, wow.
But deep down, I don't know, I just had something that's like was telling me just to give this sprinting thing a go.
Yeah.
And it still took a little while. It wasn't until lockdown that I decided to change everything that I was kind of doing. I was really stuck in a friendship group that was really into partying and drinking and doing things that, an athlete should not be doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially you were still in Melbourne at this time.
Yeah.
And Melbourne was fantastic for that. I mean, I definitely fell into that trap as well and took it overseas and did a whole thing with it. So if you're from Melbourne, you know what the party scene's like.
Exactly, And I started like partying when I was like 14. So I'd been a part of this like friendship group for a very long time. And once COVID came in and we weren't able to go 5 kilometers more than our house and everything like that, I was just like, you know what, like I'm just doing the same things over and over. I'm not happy in my job. I'm not happy in myself. I feel like I love like these friends, but they're not going to help me get to where I want to be. And I just wanted more for myself, just as a person, not even an athlete. So I decided to leave that friendship group and just to really focus on myself in that time. And really went all in my training and just decided to see where I could go with that. And dialed in on my nutrition, my sleep, built a gym in the garage. Got the leg pillow. And that next season when we were able to run again, because that whole season kind of got wiped with COVID as well.
So during that time you weren't obviously training at a club, but you were just kind of more so doing it yourself.
So I was training under a coach, which I had for a couple of years in that point. I was still training and doing every single season of competing from the age of 4. So I never like stopped competing, even when I was going out partying and stuff. I would just rock up.
You did the closing ceremony hungover. You did these events hungover, probably.
Yeah.
I'm probably still a little bit drunk.
So like partying for me was number one, but I still continue to do sport and competing and sprinting and everything like that. So I still had a coach, and he kind of said to me like, look, if you're wanting to put this stuff first, like there's probably no point in really like coming and doing the training. Like, there's only so far that I can get you if you're not willing to put in extra work. And that's when, COVID came at a perfect time because I kind of was like, you know what, I am really bored of this life. Like, I want more for myself. I want to just see where I can go with this. And went in on everything and was able to drop my time in the 100 meters from 11:89 to 11:39, which is a massive jump. And like, I hadn't even made nationals yet.
Yeah.
And like in sprinting, I'd made it for the jumps at the age of 19. And by this point I was 21 or 20.
Wow, okay.
And then ended up, ranked second in Australia for that year.
Crazy.
So I kind of went from a nobody to then getting a lot of media attention and getting a lot of eyes on me and pressured to like come out and win the Australian Championships. Tokyo was that year as well. And I was getting calls and emails to be like, we need like these documents from you in case like they select you to go to Tokyo. So I went from like pretty much a nobody.
You went from
to then
King Street Queen to potential Tokyo star.
Yeah.
Like that would have been absolutely crazy to even fathom that you've just hit like this crazy increase in your PB in your running time. You've been given an ultimatum. It's either essentially what this coach said was it's either partying or running. Pick which one you want to do. You picked one and it paid off in probably the best possible way.
100%.
But so quickly as well. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
it was really cool because during the lockdown period, like I also had I was still working full-time in childcare, but I still had a lot of time to be able to, document my journey, and I was posting a lot on social media, and I went from like, I think I was at like 3,000 followers to like 10K.
Wow.
So again, like that was also like really cool to just be like, you know what, like people are starting to relate to what I'm sort of going through. They want to make a good positive change in their life, or they just wanted to be along for the journey. And a lot of people still message me now being like, I've been there since you were posting those things, or before you even like decided to like take that turn in your life. And like that's something that's like I'm really proud of and like can inspire other people just from like what I was doing for myself. But then it's also like giving people that motivation to do it themselves as well.
Yeah. I feel like COVID, for so many people, you either sank or swam.
100%.
Yeah? Sank or swam.
Yep.
Yeah, sink or swim.
Sink or swim,
Yeah. And I was like, I built my whole business during COVID. The first year of COVID is when I started coaching, when I started doing online coaching, started posting. I went from like, for me, it wasn't obviously 3K to 10K. It was like 300 to 4K followers. So for me, like that was a massive jump in itself.
100%.
And that was when I was also like, you either were the person that was training, eating well, baking your sourdough bread, doing all these fun things, or you were the other person who was just like angry, poor me. And I think those people now are still really struggling post-COVID life. Yeah. And I've been having a lot of conversations like with my barista in the morning. We've just been having these conversations, and it's like he still gets people coming in unemployed, unhappy, still largely overweight, largely complaining. And I'm like, they just never shifted that mindset. So it was either literally 2020 for so many people, and it's 5 years later, was such a pivotal year. And it's crazy that for you, you were one of the people that obviously chose to prioritize yourself, and it's just insane. I'm mind blown.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
So when COVID ended, what kind of, did you go to Tokyo?
No. So they ended up taking a smaller team of people because it was like we were still kind of going through COVID. They were really strict at the Tokyo Olympics of how big your team could be. They didn't have any spectators in the stands, nothing like that.
Wow. So it was a bit of a tainted experience for those athletes, for sure.
And like that year, I was still like quite young, and I think if I had went to that Olympics, I would have been very overwhelmed. Because as I said before, I went from like a nobody who hadn't even run at nationals to then like potentially going to the Tokyo Olympics. Yes, it would have been cool, but to have that as like my first experience of like a major championships where there's no crowd, there's all these like they had to do COVID tests morning and night, like wear masks everywhere, all those kind of things.
It's not the right experience.
Yeah. So it really opened my eyes to I can do this. I can actually go to the Olympics one day.
Yeah.
But it also was a blessing in disguise of being like, okay, like I know I can get to that level, but we're not quite there yet. And I'm kind of glad that that wasn't my first experience.
Yeah.
And I was able to go to so many like world championships and major championships in the years after that leading into this next Olympics. So
Crazy. Do you think you'll go to another Olympics?
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my next question, so like kind of left of field to what we were just talking about, but how often do the teams rotate within like the athletics team? Like, is it the same, like say group of 12 girls for X amount of years, or is it changing every 4 years?
It's changing all the time.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of girls. We just had our Australian Championships last weekend in Perth, and I wouldn't have picked some of the people to be in that like top, like
Oh,
in that final.
really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So
Did
it's
you get a
changing all
PB
the
at that? Did I see this on your...
So I ran my fastest time in all conditions. The wind was too strong, so technically it doesn't count, but it's the fastest time that I've ever run in my life. So
Yeah, because I remember I was literally looking at your Instagram last night. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
What does this mean? Like, what happens here? Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So the wind can't be any more than like a plus 2.0 tailwind. So that's when the wind is like behind you.
Right.
Then it gets count as like, it's kind of like favoring you to run faster.
Right,
so your times can only count if it's like a plus 2.0 or less.
And what was it on that day?
3 point something.
Oh,
so.
man, it wasn't even that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you didn't pick, you wouldn't have guessed the top people in that. So does that mean now with that result then, did those girls get favoured for like another competition, or what like kind of happens then?
It changes all the time.
Really?
Yeah. So last year I had a really good season.
Okay.
Like I was winning a lot of races. I was running really good times. Went to World Relay. Well, I was part of the 4x100 metre relay team that broke the Australian record multiple times. It hadn't been broken since 2000. So
Crazy.
yeah, so I was a part of that team, and yeah, it was running really crazy times, winning heaps of races, and yeah, placed third at nationals last year, and was in the top, like looking to run at both the 100 metres and also the 4x100 metre relay at the Olympics pretty much the whole season. And then yeah, had us four as a relay the whole way through. Got to overseas, and I don't know, my body just wasn't like responding as well as what it was in the Australia season. So I just struggled to like get a hang of it, and I was still in the rankings until literally like 2 weeks before, and then the cutoff closed, and I missed out on the 100 metres by 6 positions in the world.
Wow.
So that was then my 100 metre, like I couldn't compete in the 100 metres at the Olympics because I'd missed out by 6 spots.
Wow.
So therefore I was really banking on the 4x100 metre relay. I was selected, and yeah, pretty much leading into the Olympics, because I wasn't able to run as well as what they wanted me to, they said that I was not going to be running in the relay.
Wow.
So
banging my head on the microphone. Yeah.
So even though I went to the Olympics, I didn't even get to compete.
And I feel like that would be a common thing that happens.
Yeah, it is, but I think it was a big shock because we had run that relay team all year.
Yeah.
We had run at the World Relays, and you've got to place like in a certain position at World Relays to get your ticket to go to Paris. So I was a part of that team, and we broke the Australian record there as well. We got presented like the big ticket to say that we're going to Paris. We had documentaries being done of us through Channel 7, I think it was. So I had to do full sit down interviews and all these like big things, because we had gotten the team to the Olympics, which hadn't happened for so many years for Australia. And everyone was saying like, you guys are the four, you guys are the four, you guys are the four. And then literally just before the Olympics, they just completely changed the team from what it was all year. So
really, was there a lot of like upset with people? Because I know like a lot of people follow the athletics, like not even just the athletes. Was there a lot of upset like from social media and from people watching that? It was like these 4 girls, and were you the only one who got removed from that team? And then there would have been a lot of like uproar about that. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have felt good for you that people cared.
Oh, it did. Yeah.
I mean, it would have been such a blow, but then people cared.
It was such like an emotional time for me, because obviously like to have missed out on the 100 and then like being a part of this for the whole year. I only had 2 bad races overseas, and that was enough for them to be like, no,
we're not confident anymore.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And yeah, like it kind of sucks because I ran those 2 races in freezing cold conditions, like in like countries like Sweden and stuff.
Yeah.
Where, like you just
If they're not giving you your time for a 3 point something wind, have a bit of grace for the
Yeah.
freezing cold conditions. Come on.
yeah, like there was some races where I was like shivering, like it was
Yeah.
like 15 degrees. So it's like, of course I'm not going to run fast times at those competitions, but that's just the luck of the draw
Yeah.
with athletics, unfortunately.
Yeah,
And
okay.
yeah, like it was, yeah, it really sucked, and I still had to train up all the way till the Olympics.
Just it, like,
I wasn't
okay.
able to tell people that I wasn't running because technically I was still an emergency runner, that if any of these girls got injured, I would have had to step in. So I had to keep it very hush-hush. I was able to tell my parents and my family, but that also made the experience really hard because I had so many people that follow my journey
Excited,
on
yeah.
Instagram, or just in general, like family, friends, or even just, I don't know, uncles and grandma, grandpa, you know, like, and they're asking, oh, what time, like what day and time do you run and stuff. And I had to like just
Be like, oh, it's here.
pretend that I was running.
Yeah, that would have been so hard.
So then when I like announced that I wasn't running on the morning of, which I got in a lot of trouble from doing, but
Oh, really? So you weren't even meant to say it? Like, they were just meant to start the event and you're not there?
yeah. But I was like, nah, like I can't do that. I have to let people know that I'm not running, that I was disappointed. I
Yeah.
really wanted to run and
Yeah.
did my all to even get to the Olympics and had my best season ever, and to get there and not be able to run like was really disappointing. And again, like it allows for other athletes, even if they're not at that level, to just know that like even when you get to that top level, like things aren't all sunshine and rainbows. Like
Yeah.
you still have upsets even if you feel like you don't deserve them. So yeah, I made a post that morning, and yeah, it got a lot of traction, and newspapers were picking up on it and posting it, saying, yeah, like Ebony Lane's been pulled out of the team, and
Those
yeah.
coaches will not have been happy. Do you reckon they found out through your Instagram first or through the news channels
I think
first?
they found out from like news channels because yeah, they were trying to get they were asking me to do interviews on.
Were you allowed to?
I decided not to because
Okay.
I was like, my post is enough. I've said what I wanted to say. I pretty much switched my phone off as soon as I posted it again because I just didn't want to feel, even if the comments were positive, which they all were, I just wanted to post it, get it off my chest, and then just try and enjoy the rest of like the Olympic experience for what it was and for what I was able to enjoy. So yeah, I decided not to do any interviews and just to like leave it at that. And yeah, as I said, a lot of papers and news
Make it what they want,
they
yeah.
just took my like article and ended up posting it
Yeah.
anyway. So
But I feel like if you get on an interview, what are you going to do? What are you going to get on and say? Be like, oh, I'm so pissed off. But it's like you still
Yeah.
support
oh,
the girls that
exactly.
are running.
Yeah.
Like they're still your teammates, regardless how I would say. I mean, it's obviously me not putting words into your mouth, but regardless if I'm on the team or not, I still want the girls that I've trained with the whole year prior to do well. Like,
exactly.
So it's like, what are you going to get on and say? Be like, I hope they fail.
Yeah,
like that's not what you were going to
And
do.
even if I was in their position and someone got pulled out, like I would, and they were all really good about it, asking me if I was okay, like every single day, checking in with me. But at the end of the day, like they get to run at the Olympics. Like I'm not going to take that away from them, and I wouldn't expect like for them to take that away from me if I was in that position either.
100%.
So it was like, really like tough position to be in. But like I don't regret anything that I did when I was there, and like I still made it to the Olympics. And even just sitting in the stands and watching it, I was like, one day like I will be able to run in the 100 and I'll be able to run in the relay. I still have so much time. Like I still feel like I haven't even really like
peaked
peaked or like began my full like athlete experience. Even though I've done so many major competitions and ran these amazing times, I still feel like there's so much more to give. So like it's not like I've done this Olympics and that's kind of the end for me. Like I still have LA like at the perfect time.
It's
like I'll be
literally
29
right there.
turning 30, which is great for sprinting. Like you peak around that time.
Okay.
And I know that if I make it there, like that will be enough for me to be like, yep, like I'm ready to like start a family and just like give this up. So it's the perfect time. Like I was able to go to the Olympics. I've done the experience. I'll know exactly what I can like.
What to expect, how to prepare for it. Yep.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And also I don't feel like I made any like mistakes or errors, but it's just kind of like allowing for us to like set up my international season a little bit better and like really being like, all right, let's race in hot conditions and
at least in America you can get that
a
lot easier. Or even like if you do South America or you stay at home and do it or go to Asia, like don't need to go to freezing Europe at that time. Yeah.
And it's still given me like a lot of opportunities now, like getting to like talk on podcasts or do different like interviews, photo shoots. Still got a sponsorship with New Balance, which was massive for me. I've had another company that has like allowed for all my travel to be covered this year within Australia. So I still got a lot from being in that experience and from like working really hard and having the best season of my life. And I'm able to still race overseas like this year, like in a month's time I go to Japan and race there.
Amazing.
South Korea, and then doing like the whole European season again and getting into some really good quality competitions. So none of that would have been possible if I didn't do these things last year that got me that result and is now allowing me to like build upon that each year leading into the next Olympics.
It's like the universe almost is like teasing you a little bit. Like you had, I mean, if you think about it realistically, you went from partying to in 4 years at the Olympics. So your first little taste was like, get your papers ready. We might take you to Tokyo. Didn't happen. Second time is like, all right, we're going to Paris. Shitty circumstances, didn't happen. It's like the third time lucky, like it's going to happen. You'll go to LA, you'll get your 2 races. And it's like, I feel like that then will just be such like a full circle moment for you to know like, the next 4 years are just dedicated to peaking your body and everything in your life to be perfect for that. And it's like, if the universe after that is still fucking with you, like we need to speak to someone about something because it's like, come on, give the girl a fucking chance.
Exactly.
That's crazy. And then going back to your 4x100 relay team, do you get a new team every year? Are you back with the girls, the original? Are you the 4 girls?
So it's pretty much like they want the 4 fastest girls in that team.
Sure.
So you have a bad season, you're out. That team. You get injured, you're out.
Okay. So how many of the girls at the Olympics?
There were 6 of us. Yeah. So there's like the 4 girls and then 2 emergencies. However, the other girl who was the emergency, she kind of knew her position as an emergency runner. Like, she ran really well at the Australia Championships and she'd run some good times, but like compared to everyone else and like doing head-to-head races, like I had like beaten a lot of those girls that were in the 4 all year, like in the same race. It was just like unfortunate that like near the end or coming close to the Olympics, like they were running amazing times at different like in different countries with like amazing conditions and stuff like that, which again it's just the luck of like,
it's actually crazy to me. Like my mind right now is like I have a million questions. I can't keep going on about it because I'm like, it's insane that it's just so. Like in my mind, like the logical way to do it would be like, I mean, look at me telling like Athletics Australia how to run their business. But it's like, if you have girls for the same event, keep them together in the same conditions so you can equally like work out who the best is to peak.
Well, I actually when they told me that I wasn't running, I said, well, can we do a time trial and can we do a head-to-head race with all of us 6 girls and see? But
they're like, no.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'll smoke all of these motherfuckers. Wow, that's crazy. So you mentioned you're going to Japan and South Korea, you said?
Japan, South Korea in 5 weeks' time.
Crazy.
And then in about 8 weeks' time, I go to Europe for 7 weeks to compete over there. So Spain, Portugal, Italy, Switzerland, Belgium.
I would never think that running. I mean, like this is probably me being like extremely naive to the whole like outside world of sports other than like my little circle, but it's like that you would go to so many places so frequently and it's like you're a runner, you get to eat, you're not a bodybuilder who has to eat your chicken and rice, like you would go to all these places and be living your best life. Like, where's the best place you think that you've like, where have you had the best experience, and then where's your favorite country that you've traveled to?
These would probably be like hand in hand. So World Relays last year where we like got given the big
ticket.
Yeah, big ticket.
Where was that?
Bahamas.
Whoa, that's a cool one.
That was amazing.
Okay.
Like, best place I've ever been to.
Could see like Rihanna walking down the street or something. Isn't that where she's from, the Bahamas?
I don't know.
I think she is.
Really. And it was cool because our relay camp leading into that was in Miami.
Oh, that's cool. I love America.
Like, Yes, we did like a week and a half in Miami, and then went to the Bahamas for World Relays, and it was crazy.
That's
so
crazy.
Good. Yeah.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
So now moving forward into the next, you've got 3 years left of training to peak for the Olympics. What are some of the things that you think you're doing differently to ensure that you do get picked and you do get selected to go back?
Well, I changed coaches and moved from Melbourne to Brisbane to be with this new coach.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah. So I made the move in September. So this is my first kind of season with this new coach, and it hasn't been the smoothest of seasons so far,
Okay.
but like I have only done 4 competitions, and I'm already running similar times to what I was running last year, where I was competing from January all the way up until August or whatever.
Yeah.
So I got injured in January. I tore my hamstring, and that kind of pushed our Australia season back a little bit, which is why my international season will be a lot longer this year, going to places like Japan and everything like that. But I love traveling and I love competing overseas, so I'm not complaining at all. But it's like, because the international season is at the opposite ends of the year to our Australia season because of summer. So if you can make it work, you usually try and do the whole Australia season, and then you go overseas and you do the whole European season. Yeah. Which I've done that the last 2 years, and I get really burnt out by the end of it and really struggle when I get there. So this year, feel like I've hardly raced. So I'm ready to go and so keen for this international season, because feels like I haven't even really had my season yet.
You haven't started yet,
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see the changes with that. But because I've changed coaches, my whole training is completely changed.
Okay.
I'm not doing anything the same as what I was doing with my previous coach who I was with for 6 years. So interesting, but I can see how much improvement I'm going to make, which is exciting, because last year I had the best season ever. And to already see so much improvement, it's like, whoa, what could I actually run here? Can
you imagine you become imagine I'm talking to the next Kathy Freeman and I'm one day you're just going to be Australia legend. You're going to have your cement statue at the front of the MCG. I'm I spoke to her in 2025. I spoke to her. That's crazy. Who would you say would be the people that you look up to within obviously your sport, but then also I feel sometimes for a lot of athletes at a really high level, it's not actually other athletes that they're inspired by, but who would you say is someone that really motivates you?
Yeah, I've never really had someone that I've looked up to, but when you get to the top level, looking at people who are at the top that are similar to you, so there is a lot of short sprinters. I'm quite short as a sprinter, but very muscly. So there is a lot of other girls who are similar to me from America, Jamaica, all different places, and they're the girls that I kind of really look upon and try and,
because you can relate.
And just seeing how fast that they can run, they're running 10.8.
Wow.
And
that's crazy.
So just kind of if I just can go that next level, it is possible. It's not sprinting's just for people who are really tall or anything like that. Compared to a lot of the girls in Australia, I'm very short compared to them. But then when I get to that world level, it's really cool to see that there is people at that top level who are the same height as me or shorter. So and they're just so more muscle than what I have now. So it just shows that if I can get stronger, more powerful,
you can just
that time could happen.
It's so interesting because that kind of also comes into this whole tall poppy thing, which is it's so common obviously within the bodybuilding world that it's if you're not XYZ, you're kind of not favored or whatever. But it's so interesting that it's even within a whole other sport. It's well, if you're not this criteria of tall, quite, I would say, lean in the sense that they don't have a lot of muscle density. You walked in here and I was you're jacked. You've got a lot of density behind you, but it's so crazy that even just based on your physique, for the completely different sport where your physique, how you look doesn't necessarily matter. It's how it performs.
Exactly,
You're still kind of the outsider for that. It's so interesting to me that but then in other countries, it's well, they're the fastest girls. They're the girls that are going to these going to the Olympics, going to the World Championships, being the best in their country, and no one says anything. But in Australia, it's kind of the opposite way.
Yeah, definitely.
So twisted.
Definitely.
We've literally got small town syndrome.
Yeah.
But the whole country has it.
Yeah.
And no one realizes it.
Yeah. And you do like definitely get caught up in comparing yourself to other people or like especially in athletics, like a lot of girls have like 6-pack, 8-packs, everything.
Yeah.
Like I've never been someone that's had a 6-pack, but I've got abs. And it's just like you just have to keep reminding yourself that everyone is different and it's the way that your body is structured and how it performs and what you can find is the best way for it to move faster or to lift heavier or to look a like certain way to fit criteria and stuff, but it's how you make it yourself to be able to fit those things. So like I've really come to realize that there's such like a fine line with like how my weight is on the scales to like how I do feel or how I perform or how fast I run, like, and it's like such a small window, but like it's something that you do have to be mindful of and just like know how your body kind of responds to things as well, to like what you can control and like stuff like that.
It's so as well, like you mentioned, you have a lot of people following. You've got quite a large social media platform now as well. Like, and I hope that some of your followers are listening who may be younger and to realize as well that you're potentially the person that they look up to. Yeah. You're their girls from Jamaica or the USA. Like that's you to them. And it's so nice for you to say that. And then potentially, and I really hope that they do see that people at the top level still have all the same experiences with body image, self-confidence, self-belief. I don't know. You mentioned your grandma having to tell them, like they've got families, they've got siblings, they've got partners, they've got pets, they've got all of these same things. And it's like, in reality, and I don't want you to take offense to me saying this, but you're no one special. And it's like anyone can achieve that as well. And it's such a nice, I want to say, point of breaking that barrier between Instagram and reality. And it's like, 100%. You're just a normal person. You were just a girl, like you mentioned in 2020, who used to go out and party and do all of these things. Probably went to school local in Melbourne, somewhere that you don't have to say it, but if you said your school, so many people would know it and you'd be like, oh my God, like I know that school too, or I went there too, or I used to go have lunch there too. Like it's just such a really nice way to be like, the people that these young girls in athletics look up to, it's like, she's just a normal girl. It's like anyone can do it. And I think that that's just something that I find really inspiring about you as well. It's like, we both are girls from Melbourne and you've gone on and done insane things. And it's like, but then you saying like, oh, I still sometimes compare myself or I still sometimes don't feel like I'm good enough or you have disappointment. It's just, it's a really nice thing that I think not everyone really is open about. And I think they're like, oh no, I'm the best. Like I went to the Olympics. Like it would be so easy for you to be like, guys, I actually went to the Olympics. Like regardless if I didn't run, like my shit doesn't stink. But it's like, no, you're like, well, I actually have all of these things. And I think that that's really, it's a really nice breaking that barrier, I think. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. And like with any sport, or I feel like even sometimes in social media, like there's always going to be people that are better than you. And you could have years where you're thriving and doing all these amazing things and you get a lot of attention, but then there is a lot of years where you don't. And I think you just have to be like really switched on in yourself and your own mindset that it's like, who cares about all that stuff? I'm working on myself. I'm continuing to tick the boxes. Like I'm bettering myself every single day. And that actually is the only thing that matters. Like who cares what other people think? Who cares if you lose people along the way or you feel like you don't have like fans or people that look up to you, because at the end of the day, you probably still do. You just don't realize it.
Or you're just trying to impress and connect with the wrong people.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think as well, this is something that like I actually was saying to my husband the other day. I was like, I actually don't need all these people to like me. No. Like it's just something that like I was just like going through like social media and like looking at people with insane followings and I'm like, I'm happy with my 7,000 followers. Like, but I'm like, at the end of the day, if I was like going left of field and getting a big head and being like, oh, I'm perfect, I run a podcast, it's the best podcast in the world. I'm like, it's absolutely fucking not. Like I have a lot to learn still, but it's like, if he is okay with who I am and he knows that I am actually, when there's no cameras, no lighting, no microphones, no one's pressing play on this podcast episode, I'm still the same person on and off the microphone, or I'm still the same person on and off my stories, then it's like, cool, job done. I've done an amazing thing. Yeah.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. So what would be some advice for those younger girls that I I hope you listen, because I think that this would be such a really nice episode for them. But what would be some advice that you would have for them if they are falling into that comparison cycle, or they are wanting to one day get to the Olympics and be next to you on that stage, or be at that level where they can run and do all these crazy things, travel the world, go to Japan, go to Europe, do these crazy seasons? What would be your biggest advice for them?
I would just say, like, just continue being yourself, continue working on yourself. As I said before, tick all the boxes that you need to tick. Keep trying to, better yourself in different areas, try different things. Like, some things might work for some things might not work for others. And that's, again, coming down to that comparison thing, is just really knowing who you are, what works for you, and building on what your foundation is, I think is super important, because like, there has been times when things aren't so good in my life or whatever, and it's just going back to, like, okay, well, what makes me feel good? I'm going to start doing that, and then in a couple of weeks' time I'm feeling great again. So, or I'm performing better, or I'm feeling better of, like, how I look or how I feel, like, and it's just coming down to, like, tiny minuscule things, like doing a sauna or going for a morning walk. Like, you take those things out of your routine and you start to feel a bit off, and then you add them back in and you're like, oh, hang on a minute,
I'm back.
It's just that small little thing that I needed to do. And it's just focusing on those little things, and those will eventually build up to something bigger. Like, I never have given up on bettering myself, or being like, okay, like, I've nailed this, how can I do better? Or what's something else that I could bring in that's different, or things like that. So there is always going to be room for improvement, no matter if you're at the top or if you're wanting to be at the top. And it's just figuring out what those things are and just building upon that.
And I think as well, it's the people at the top that will always say they've got the most improving to do. Like, probably the girl who won gold in the 100-meter sprint was like, I have the most improvements that I ever need to make, because she probably nitpicks at everything. It's so crazy. That's a whole other mindset that you could probably just talk about in its own episode. But it's like, that's, So I like that advice. That it's just, there's always something that you can be doing. And it's, if, like you mentioned, what works for one person isn't going to be the same for everyone else. Crazy. Crazy. Well, I think I'm out of questions for you. I've learned so much about the sport. I'm like, my whole mind is just completely shifted. I do have another question. What's a week of training looking like for you?
So Mondays I do track and gym. So that usually starts at 9 a.m. and finishes about 1:30 p.m.
Wow.
So that's a big day. Tuesday, track again. And that's just usually like a recovery kind of session from Monday. So just getting the legs moving. Wednesday, and then I also do Pilates on Tuesday afternoons as well. Wednesdays are rest days, and usually try and get like treatment or do recovery. My go-to recovery is a sauna. And then Thursday is another 100% track session. Friday is a gym session. Saturday is another track session, which is usually either recovery or another 100% session, and then Sunday rest. So
that's a lot.
It's a lot. And then trying to work and stuff.
What do you do for work?
So I do coaching as well. So I do online and in person.
Like strength coaching or running coaching?
Both.
Okay.
We also do athlete mentoring. So I'm in business with one of my best friends, and we've been doing coaching with Empower Performance for 2 years now. So we started off just doing online, and now we've just expanded to doing face-to-face and also mindset coaching. We also do nutrition coaching as well. So a very broad way of coaching, and we coach athletes, but also just general population people or people that want to train like an athlete. A lot of older people, like we've had clients that are like 70 years old.
Oh, wow.
And just trying to get them moving back and feeling good within themselves. So like our coaching is very broad, but it does bring in a lot of different avenues of different things, like your nutrition, your mindset, and your movement as well. So
be a whole different range of people that you would be able to help as well.
Exactly. And it's something that, like, as soon as I started in the fitness industry, I knew that was it for me. That was the industry and the career that I wanted to have. And unfortunately, like, when you're an athlete, we don't get paid that well, like, if anything at all, unless you've got sponsors. And once you stop being an athlete, it's very hard to kind of build something on that. So that was also like a big drive for me as well, is like, okay, like, yes, I'm an athlete and I'm enjoying it and I'm getting a little bit of money and stuff, but what am I going to do after this is all finished?
Yeah.
And
You're not
there
going
is
to
a
be
lot of
running at
people
80.
that- yeah, there's a lot of athletes that fall in that hole. They get to that point and they're like, well, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I'm passionate about. Whereas for me, I'm like, coaching is like so much more than just being an athlete myself.
Yeah.
Like it's something that I'm passionate about. I can see myself doing it for a very long time. I can see myself opening up a gym or doing like a podcast or something like that. Like there's so many avenues that it can take, and it's something that I'm like so passionate about outside of being an athlete myself. So yeah, that's also what I do on the side as well of being an athlete. So
Because I was thinking that you're saying your week of training and I'm like, hold on. When does she work?
Yeah.
Because there's 2 rest days. There's a whole lot of like activity there. That's like, when is the rest?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then last question. Last year became the year that every person became a runner. The TikTok running trend, running era.
Yeah.
I fell into it at one point. I ran from January to April, did a run, never ran again.
Right.
What was your mindset throughout that time when you saw everyone running? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you like, what's everyone doing? You're like, no one's going to stick to it?
That one's a difficult question because like for me, I'm a sprinter. I only run 100 meters. I don't even run the 200. So
Can you run like long distances?
even if I could, like that just does not interest me at all. So even like I was looking at it being like, why people? Like that does not interest me. Like going out and going for a run, like nah.
I wouldn't be doing that if I didn't have to.
Yeah, exactly. And like long distance running can be like so hard on the body as well. Like so many people get, I don't know, shin issues or calf issues. Yeah, problems with their feet, those kind of things. And like for me, like I'm such a strength-based athlete. Like I obviously still have to do my running training and get out on the track and run as fast as possible. But for me, like if I'm lifting super heavy, I'm lifting PBs in the gym, most of the time is when I'm running PBs on the track. So for me, like, yes, I'm a sprinter and I do running training, but strength training is so important because anytime that I'm lifting PBs in the track, in the gym, I'm doing it on the track.
Yeah,
so, like that's like a big thing for me is if I'm not lifting heavy and well in the gym, like most of the time I'm not running that great on the track. So definitely comes hand in hand, and I would definitely say that it would be the same for everyone else. Like you might enjoy your running, but never let go of the strength training because it is so important.
Yeah, because I feel like people got triggered. I put up a post maybe like a few months ago when I said like, oh, trends that I would never do. And I was like, oh, high rocks or like running a marathon. And then I'm just like, people like, well, why would you say that it's a trend? I'm like, guys, it's literally like the #1 trending word on TikTok right now. Like it's a trend. So it's interesting that you're like, I would never do it. And you're probably like one of the peak runners in the country. You're like, not for me, I'm out. Would you ever run a marathon? Like, would that ever just be something like, what if like you were like, say like in 25 years, you're retired marathon? No.
For me, like I've always said, as soon as I finish doing athletics, I'd love to do a bodybuilding competition.
Okay. I mean, you could probably do it now.
Yeah.
Like just step on stage. There's a show in Gold Coast next weekend.
Ask, like, oh, like especially if I go into like a gym that I just pay like a casual fee, so many people come up and be like, you bodybuilder, CrossFit, like what are you kind of doing? Like sprinter, and they're like, oh, that makes sense. But also you could definitely do that. And like I watch like all the shows and like I love that scene. And like as I said before, like strength training is like a big passion for mine, and also discipline as well, because I've obviously got to be disciplined in my sport. So and I see how much hard work and discipline goes into that as well. So that's definitely something that I can see myself doing past when I retire.
Could you imagine doing it before the LA Olympics and just rocking up to the LA Olympics absolutely jacked and shredded, and you're like, all right, winning golds, absolutely insane. Yeah, like that would be your cardio. You won't even need to do anything. Eat like a couple meals and you'll be good to go. Yeah, that would be, I mean, if you want to like do third time lucky, just do it all at once.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can wrap it up there. Thank you so much for coming down and chatting with us. I absolutely loved learning more about you in the sport, and obviously, clearly, I didn't know much at all. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited to one day visit your statue at the front of the MCG. So yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for listening. Make sure you share this episode with someone that you think would enjoy, someone who potentially is in little athletics and one day wants to get to the Olympics, or someone who's struggling with a little bit of self-doubt or self-confidence issues. And I think there's so much that people can benefit from. So with that being said, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.